Hey, I'm going to teach you how to write flash fiction, short fiction, right now. I'm going to teach you how to write flash fiction, short stories. This is a technique called vomiting on the page. What is vomiting on the page? It's very self-explanatory. You probably already know. Listen, technically writing isn't hard. What's hard is thinking everything's a pain in the ass. Now, if you think everything's a pain in the ass like I do, you don't do what you're supposed to be doing, like writing a book or whatever. So thoughts are your enemy, which is funny because we're writers, so we have lots of thoughts and we think we need them. But technically, the answer is to get a recorder out. Technically, the answer is to go on Zoom video like I am, talk into the camera. When you're done talking about your story, you send that audio to Bangladesh on Fiverr, and they type it up for you. I've done that for interviews. It's a very good way to get out of your head and not worry about writing like you do. Because we think like, oh, my fingers hurt and my head hurts, and it's not true. And if your fingers do hurt, I would suggest to stop eating sugar, because that's what I did. It took me a long time to realize what I was doing to myself, but I had problems. I thought really depressing thoughts. I thought because I have diabetes too, I thought I was in the world. I'm still alive. I don't know. But yeah, if you have problems like that, stop eating sugar. I don't know why sugar is the worst thing in the world, but it is. And your fingers will be okay. And stretch. This is a good one. I don't know. Yeah, so let me show you how to vomit on the page. I'm going to make this easy peasy mac and cheesy. Watch. Okay, I wrote that. So if you read this, it's like, I woke up today and there was snow outside. That's real. That's happening. I had something in my teeth. That happened. Now you're wondering, like, why would you write about something that's real? That's nonfiction. That's not fiction. You jerk. Let's be straight. Everything's fiction. Fake news. Let's just be straight. Human beings have an imagination, and we use it constantly until the day we die. And then what do we do when we die? I guess we just go into the imagination and live there. I don't know. But yeah, all these ideas, man. And maybe I have a different view than everybody else, but that's really how it is. It's from here. It's from here, from the soul. And the people who are negative and doing weird stuff, they're going in the wrong direction. It's just an outpouring of human, woo-woo all the time, and nobody wants to accept that because I'm a realist. It's logical, whatever. But being a fiction writer, you don't have to think that way, and you can do whatever you want. So, as you can tell, I had 2 sentences that are real. This really happened in the moment today. I'm taking things from my moment, talking to you right now. I did have some in my teeth, but then I brushed my red afro out of my face. It was so long and puffy and all over the place. Whoops. Because of COVID and all the barbers being closed and going out of business. Now, I don't have a red afro. So there's your fiction part. And you can do this all day long. You can take things out of your life and you don't have to tell anybody. Don't tell anybody. Trust me, don't tell anybody. Deny, and just take it and use it as a framework, because the other thing you could do is get one of those spy recording devices, or just a recording device, and go to like the cafe and just put it on desk, turn it on, and capture what people are talking about and steal their conversations. It's wonderful to do that. I've taken emails before like the back and forth, and use that. And I've taken, I mean, there's a way to record conversations on your phone. You just have to download an app. I mean, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's all sorts of ways to do it. And I always think about that, because if I'm really that lazy, I mean, come on, you got to do it. But don't plagiarize like a blog post or something. Don't do that. Don't use AI. AI, that's ridiculous. So yeah, I don't want to talk about AI. It's so stupid, you know. But yeah, just don't steal anything. But like the one cool way to do things is, if you want to record phone calls, like that's against the law, they say, but if you're using it for fiction, I think you should just do it. And just don't tell anybody you did it. Just deny it, and put a recorder on in a cafe and try to capture some instant conversations, because you will capture some people talking about things that you would never talk about. It's awesome. And then you could have to send it to Bangladesh over Fiverr, and you got to tell him, don't ever reveal this to anyone. I don't know, but you can send it out, and people they can freaking type it up. And you can talk about your dreams. If you have a weird dream, just talk about your dream and record it or write it down. Now, I know some people don't have an imagination at all, so I'm giving you some really good tips here. And you know, if you need to copy something you saw, it's okay. You just can't. You just have to do it differently. You know, like the first thing you got to do is change the names. Number one, in writing fiction, you got to change the names. Number two, you got to do something differently. You know, they make movies about crimes all the time, and it's obviously about a real crime, and it's just like fictionalized. So pay attention to that when you see it, because fiction is fiction is fiction. And if you're a fiction writer, you gotta follow these ironclad rules. And the ones who don't, you know, they're not that good. So if you follow my advice, you'll be good. If you follow, you know, other people's advice, you won't be a good fiction writer. That's just the way it is. I'm that good. Anyway, glad we could have this talk. So now you would just continue this, and if you get stuck, you just like look, you know, my asbestos. What is it? It's called popcorn ceiling. We stared at it because that didn't happen. But you know, I just looked up and my popcorn ceiling and started with that, and that's how you do it. So imagine you were in a cafe and sitting there drinking your coffee, and you're just looking at people all day. I mean, if you're in a city, you got it made, because you can look at people all day long and write your New York story or whatever. Like, you literally got it made if you're in New York or somewhere. You know, I know you're depressed and lonely, but you know, I mean, that's the greatest thing about our world, is that we can do that. We can observe. There's a great comedian who talks about observing. George Carlin. I have to Google if that's the right name. I'm pretty sure it is George Carlin, comedian. Talks about observing. It's really good. You should look that up. Observation. But yeah, comedians are fun to watch because they're always telling stories. I always watch comedians, and the darker the humor, the better. Anyway, uh, so how many words do I have? I have 71 words. I just need He steered it. What is this crap? Is this Grammarly? I hate Grammarly. Don't use Grammarly. Have your own voice. These people who think you can just, clone yourself with AI all the time. Don't pay attention to that stuff, man. You got a brain, you got imagination. Like it's gonna ruin some parts of our society, and it'll make some of the parts of it better. Um, yeah, 71 words. I need like 5 or 6 times more. I had a dream last night, so let's write about my dream. And you're wondering, like, this story isn't going to make sense. You're going everywhere. When I edit it, it'll make sense. So you see how, like, editing is a part of the process? Speakers. Screw you, speakers. I had the worst setup, like, ever. You see how, like, my setup is horrible? Like, it's just like, oh, yeah, I'm an influencer. No, I'm not. Anyway, uh, yeah, editing. You got to self-edit. You got to self-edit. I have to edit the 71 words now and make it into a story because it's not a story yet. But we got Getting High. We got a Red Afro. We're doing good. I mean, how could you do worse than that? The one thing that you need to think about is making the character go through some really bad stuff because that's the only, when it comes to writing fiction, that's the only thing you need to realize is that the character has to go through really bad stuff all of the time. Think about like Tom Cruise in the Mission Impossible movies. I mean, if that movie was about him, hanging out with his wife and being happy, you wouldn't like it. But the fact that he can't be with his wife and he's saving the world, and then in the end he's like all sneakily like, oh, I get to hang out with my wife in a sneaky way. That's good stuff. But yeah, I mean, if your character has a perfect life, you're gonna have to, put him through hell in order to make a good story. It's just the way it is. I mean, look at the Bible. I mean, Noah's Ark. Come on. Did I just say Noah's Ark's fiction? I don't know. I don't have a clue. I just know my mom used to read me those stories, and I'm glad she did because the default speakers changed Realtek HD8 audio second output. I'm glad she did. Helped me become who I am. So, but I'll put that in my story. I talked to my brother. He said that he didn't remember this, but I clearly remember my mom sitting in bed and doing this. So now I'm going to edit it. I looked at those detailed artwork pictures. So now you're saying, Evan, this is nonfiction. You're talking about your mama. Okay. Well, I'll make it fiction then. Shut the. No, I'm just kidding. You used to comb out my red hair. I did not like it. It hurt. but you know. So this is a really interesting introduction where we have all these aspects. It's just an introduction. How many words is that? That's 125 words. So I'm getting to the point where I almost have flash fiction at 500. And you know, lots of people say I'm like I forgot what you call it, but you know, it's like I met an agent once and she said I do magic realism because I'm like I got this surreal aspect where I go back and forth. So I mean, the reason why I go back and forth is because I vomit on the freaking page. I don't censor myself. And some people censor themselves. So now that you've done this, I wish there was an app for if there's an app for changing I to he, let me know in the comments because I don't know what it is. Because you could change this to he woke up today and there was snow outside. He had something in his teeth. So you don't have to stick with I. You can just change the pronoun. I mean, this is how you do it. And you figure out which one you like better and you do it that way. But first you vomit on the page. You could do you did this. You could do I did this. You could do he, she, it did this. I mean, that's writing. That's what you got. You got that. And the more you experiment, the better off you are as a writer because you open up your brain and you won't just see things one way. Because that's why you get bored because you're like, I don't like writing. I don't want to write today. I want to drink coffee and watch YouTube and go on OnlyFans. You know, I mean that's how it is. I mean, we're all human. We all do the same dang thing. There's a reason why trends happen. There's a reason why things are popular. And you don't have to follow the trends. You really don't. You can make your own trend. You can be trendsetter, but you have to open yourself up to experiment. If you don't, you're screwed. Like you're literally screwed because someone else is doing this. Someone else is using all the pronouns to see, well, this one is the way direction I need to go. So like, all right, let me give you an example. This is the best example I have. When I was in high school, there were two valedictorians because there were just these two guys that were competing against each other. They said, you know what? They're both excellent. We're gonna have two valedictorians when I graduated. So, but one of them, I heard this, and I wish I had known as a freshman in high school that he did this. Maybe I would have been valedictorian if I heard this. But he would write not one paper, but like three papers, more than that. And he'd probably show it to his parents, and he'd look at it and see which one was the best paper and hand that one in. But he didn't write one paper; he wrote like three. There's a paper due on Friday. You got to turn it in. He would write three at least, or two, not one. And you go, which paper is the best? This one is. And that's writing in a nutshell. That's what your publisher and your agent are going to tell you to do. And if you don't do it, you don't get paid. So, you know, so start doing it without a publisher and agent, man. But yeah, if there's an app to change the pronouns, let me know. I need to start using that because that's three right there. You, I, he. That's three different ways of doing it. And that's beautiful. So I've given you a lot to chew on. So now I want you to take this advice and start using it. What's the summary? Summary, pronouns. Oh, pronouns. You did one. Pronouns. Fuck that. Two. Self-edit. Free. Four. Five. There you go. Just reference that if you don't have imagination, and you'll be fine. I mean, come on, you'll be fine, without a doubt. Maybe I'll make a cheat sheet for you and put it in the video for you to download, and you can subscribe to my blog and get more stuff from me because I have lots of stuff. And if you subscribe, you're going to benefit. So, all right, well, take it easy, guys. You have a nice day, and glad I could help you. And leave comments, and maybe I'll answer them. If you're nice, if you're a jerk, I won't answer it. So, talk to you later.